The movie opens in the middle of the sea, where Quinn is finally released by a woman after centuries of suffering. Elsewhere, the team carries out another operation to stop a man named Conrad from delivering weapons. Niall keeps watch while the other team members infiltrate the building. After fighting guards in the yard, Joe and Nikki steal several cars, aiming to be chased by as many guards as possible. Andy and Copley, now part of the team, enter the building, as many of the guards are out of the way. While fighting the remaining guards, they remind each other that they're not immortal. Nikki and Joe, meanwhile, are enjoying themselves, driving around in the stolen cars. Niall then rides a speedboat into the building, alerting more guards. She climbs up the building, continuing to fight any guards in her path. Conrad himself appears and begins shooting at her. A bullet hits her, but she quickly heals and jumps down from the balcony onto the floor where Andy and Copley are fighting, informing them that Conrad is upstairs. Joe and Nikki's hot pursuit becomes more serious, prompting Joe to tell Nikki to jump into his car. Nikki gets hurt in the process but heals and pushes one of their pursuers off a cliff. They turn back and drive at full speed, but an accident sends them plummeting off the cliff. Andy, Niall, and Copley find Conrad and collectively shoot him until he falls and dies. Niall picks up a weapon, and they tell her it looks good on her. Mission accomplished, the weapons are collected by the CIA. The team is celebrating when Copley receives a call from the CIA, informing him that Conrad was not the buyer, but merely a conduit for a woman whose photo he shows them. Niall recognizes the woman from a dream she had, in which she was in an ancient library with someone she hurt. Andy promises her they'll figure it out. In Paris, a drunk Booker enters his home and encounters Quinn, who asks him how to find Andy before capturing him. The team is supposed to go on holiday for now, so they split up. Andy tells Copley to come with her, as she needs his help. Joe tells Nikki that he needs some alone time, but Nikki, doubting him, follows him along with Niall. Where Booker was taken, Quinn interrogates him about Andy's whereabouts, but he claims not to know, as he's in exile. She expresses her anger and disappointment that Andy didn't come to free her from bondage. Joe arrives at Booker's apartment in Paris but finds Nikki and Niall standing in front of the building. They're disappointed in him because he wasn't supposed to reach out to someone in exile, but he defends his actions by saying Booker was alone. Niall emerges from the building and points out that something might be wrong, as Booker isn't home and there's blood on the wall. They try to reach Andy, but her phone goes straight to voicemail, so they hurry back. Andy and Copley arrive at their destination, and Andy tells Copley to wait outside while she ensures it's safe to bring him in. She meets a friend named Toi, who is actually the man Niall saw in her dream. She asks him about the woman who was with him, and he invites her to the library. She tells him about her friend who discovered a ripple effect and introduces Copley to him. He takes them to the library. The library is dedicated to immortals, and Toi expresses his impressed by Copley discovering the ripple effect in his 43 years on Earth. Andy notices an empty space in the library and asks Toi about it. Toi responds that it was stolen by one of them named Discord. He tells them that she was the first immortal. Copley says he found no trace of anyone before Andy, and Toi replies that it was by design. Discord was there the day Toi saved Andy from the people who threw Quinn into the sea, and she retreated, spending centuries amassing enough fear and power so she wouldn't fear anything in her life. Toi tells them it's been a very long time since he's been scared, but he's scared now. Andy asks him if it's possible Discord knows she would have lost her immortality, and Toi is shocked. They get home, and Toi is introduced to the others. They tell Andy that Booker is in trouble and realize it may be Discord. While they're discussing next steps, Joe gets a call and informs them it's Booker. They go out to get him, and he tells them he needs to see Andy. When they get to the house, he tells Andy that Quinn is out and gives her a note from Quinn telling her where to find her. She steps out, but Niall tries to discourage her. After Niall realizes she can't be discouraged, she convinces Andy to let her come along. They arrive in Rome, and Niall tells Andy she'll be right behind her. Andy walks to the location and meets Quinn there. Quinn expresses her anger at the fact that Andy stopped searching for her, while Andy expresses how sorry she is. Andy tells Quinn to join them, but Quinn isn't interested in fighting a war on behalf of the mortals who drowned her. Andy says she can't leave them behind, and Quinn interprets this as Andy making a choice, which makes her leave angrily. Andy chases her, and Niall, following closely behind, sees Discord. Andy catches up to Quinn, who begins to fight her. Andy says she doesn't want to fight, but Quinn doesn't stop. Niall arrives and tells them that Discord is there. Discord shows up behind Niall and chases after her. Andy discovers that it was Discord who got Quinn out. The fight continues, and Quinn takes her chain back. Andy runs after her again, but this time, she can't find her. Niall follows Discord into a church, and they talk. Discord tells her that their team's interference with human affairs is why they are being hunted. She says that Nile, as the last immortal, has the power to stop it, and she will find out this power later on. She also tells her that they're connected, as they both have the same birthmark on their arms, the first immortal and the last. When they get home, they suspect that Discord knows something about Nile that they don't. Booker goes to see Twa and asks him what he's working on. Twa asks if Nile had ever wounded Andy, and Booker confirms, since she was stabbed by Nile when they first met. Twa says he has a theory that this may be why Andy lost her immortality. Twa explains the legend that he and Discord heard centuries ago. It states that the wound of the last immortal has the power to take away anyone's immortality, and that the wounded immortal can bestow the gift of immortality to another before it is lost, but it has to be willingly given. He suspects that Discord wants to use Nile to kill them all. Booker goes to see Andy and tells her that he would probably go after all this, but Andy tells him that they shouldn't have left him behind, as they need him. He expresses his gratefulness and tells her that he'd love an expiration date, as it gives things meaning. He also tells her not to give up on Quinn. Discord asks Quinn how she can help her, and Quinn says she wants everyone to suffer. At a nuclear facility in Indonesia, Quinn breaks in with a truck, but the truck is shot until they are sure that the driver is dead. She wakes up, and her team kills all the guards. They get into the facility, and she is handed a bag. Booker finds Nile training and offers to spar with her. Twa, watching from afar, realizes what Booker may be trying to do, so he joins the sparring session. They all continue sparring, and Booker intentionally gets on the end of Nile's blade. He tells Twa that he can already feel himself not healing, and Twa reminds him that he has to give it willingly if he wants to give his immortality to Andy. Copley gets information about the nuclear site and asks the team to meet in the library. Booker goes to Andy's room and gives his immortality to her. Copley explains that Quinn's team planted a bomb that could breach the facility and irradiate the whole area. Nile says that it's a trap, and she knows that they'll try to stop it. Andy says they should go either way. Joe tells Nikki that he's scared, but they push forward together as always. They arrive at the facility and move towards the core, with Copley's direction. They don't meet any resistance on their way, and they find it suspicious. Getting closer to the core, they find some resistance, but they don't use guns because of the nuclear bomb. Everyone gets involved in the fight, and Copley directs the others to the control room. Nile tries to join Andy in her fight but falls in the process. They get there, and Copley asks them to give him access to their system through a manual override. While they are still trying to find the manual override, Copley is ambushed, and they can't reach him on the comms. The control room is locked, and liquid nitrogen is administered into the room. Soldiers come into the room and take them away. Andy calls out to them on comms but can't reach them. 2 soldiers attack her and overpower her until Booker comes to her rescue. They escape through a door, and Booker notices her wound healing. They need to go through another door, and Andy, still thinking she's mortal, asks Booker to go first. But Booker explains that he gave his immortality to her, and he's the mortal one now. The door opens, and she uses her weapon to keep it open. She fights the soldiers and discovers that Booker is actually telling the truth. Booker tells her that he got his expiration date and runs to the other side of the door after removing the weapon that kept it open. He kills everyone there, but sustains a lot of wounds in the process, which leads to him finally dying. Nile wakes up and goes to the core room. She meets Quinn there, and they get into a fight. Nile cuts Quinn, and they're both shocked when they realize that Quinn isn't healing. Discord stabs Nile, and Nile is captured. Andy looks for Nile, Joe, Nikki, and Twa in the facility but finds Quinn with the detonator of the bomb in her hand and the bomb by her side. She manages to talk Quinn out of blowing up the facility and then notices the blood around her. Andy hears the sound of helicopters and runs outside. She runs towards a helicopter and is able to grab onto it, but she is shot down by the pilot. The helicopter that Discord is in tries to hit her, but she goes around the back, enters the helicopter, and pushes Discord out of it. Discord tells the helicopter to circle around, and they both fight. While fighting, Andy realizes that Discord is mortal. Discord plans to make Nile take their immortality and give it to her. Andy tells her that Nile will never hurt them, but Discord doesn't plan to give her a choice. They continue to fight, and Discord slashes her ankles, stabs her, and walks away, so that she can't come after her. Andy promises to come for them, and Discord says she'll be immortal by then. Back at the library, Andy tries to find anything that can help her but is frustrated by her lack of progress. As she takes care of Quinn. After some time, Andy sets out with Quinn to find her teammates. From this ending, it is evident that there will be a part 3.